Good morning, everyone. We are back on track. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Thursday. Had to think about it. And just ready for training tomorrow. We're talking about the blend. If you have difficulty blending persistence with patience, you got to join me for training. All the trainings, entrepreneurs, billionaires, millionaires, celebrities, athletes, entertainers, everybody is available on the playbook. Just download it, share it, the playbook. You'll love it. Share it. Spotify, Apple, Google, Entrepreneur features it. It's called the playbook. Go ahead and get that. All my exercises, guides, and books are free. You can see david@dmeltzer.com is where to email. I will send it. If you want me to follow you, email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Any other requests, david@dmeltzer.com. All right, let's get on it right now. We got questions rolling in. How to understand where your center is. Well, your center is a moving target. Your center is at peace, at your highest frequency. So you're pursuing your center as it moves around. But the best way to practice identifying and raising your awareness to where your center is meditation. Meditation, by the way, is the practice of being quiet. Once you understand that we are practicing being quiet and allowing the part of our brain that is connected to the greatest source of light, love, and lessons, connected to abundance, connected to more enough, connected to the greatest enlightenment, that quietness allows that connection to speak clearly to one another and allow you to expand, to grow exponentially in the most efficient, effective, and statistically successful way. Yes, everybody follow Hallen Sane 25. Made that request. Let's be a good community and follow him. Blaine, thumbs up to you as well. Questions came pouring in. Good to see everyone. How do you let the sites you're accustomed to disappear? The sites that you're accustomed to disappear. Well, first you have to make a decision of what you want. So your what, as far as what you're looking to see, will disappear as you change your what if you determine you want to see something different. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So it's all mindset, heart set, and then implementing the conscious continuum, your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious activities in order to effectuate changing the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Tomorrow training, we'll talk about that in the blend. We're blending persistence and patience, a completely counter intuitive thing, a conflictual idea. It's kind of like detaching from an outcome. How can we have goals and a vision if we detach from an outcome? We detach our emotions, the energy and motion that we put into there within the context of what we teach and do. Are you familiar with breath work? Absolutely familiar with it. I utilize it in my Ferocious Buddha practice of stop, drop, and roll. The way we drop to our higher frequency, to our center, to our best self is through breathing, and breathing through and deep through your nose, out through your mouth to the end of the universe. Very, very familiar with that. Here we go. How do you know when your habits need to be changed? When you want your habits to change? So your habits are your activities. Your habits are understanding your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why. So if you don't know your what, then you can't determine what habits it takes and who needs to help you in order how to effectuate what you do now, and then have the purpose and passion behind it to complement the why that you're looking to apply. All right. What's the most challenging part of scaling a business? Blending persistence and patience. People. So blending persistence and patience and people are the hardest part of scaling a business. We can easily scale assets, hard material assets, but the multivariable human experience working and scaling a business with the necessary resources of human involvement determining an extremely challenging opportunity to work with people to scale a business from a learning phase to an execution phase to a equity stage. If anybody wants a document or an exercise on how to scale a business, go ahead, email me. I'll send it for free. david@dmeltzer.com. And we're on it. Let's My friend Will Coleman joined at Ride Alto, co-founder, CEO of Alto, ridealto.com. There he is. Good morning, Will.
Hey, David, how are you?
I'm good. Good. I turn up my volume a little bit. Never know where I'm at till someone speaks. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Thanks for joining me. Well, I, want to understand, the newest in ride sharing services. You guys are based in the Antarctica, I heard. I mean,
It's feeling
Dallas, right?
it's feeling a little bit like that. Yeah, I'm back in Dallas today. I was actually we've now launched in Los Angeles as well, and I was there yesterday, where the weather's significantly better than it is here in Texas at the moment. But
Yeah,
we've
I
got
think the karma. Everybody from California, they moved because they didn't want to pay the state tax here, and then I think they're getting a rude awakening why it's more expensive to live in California, right?
yeah, this weather is a little bit insane. We're not used to this, and this isn't normal by any stretch of the
No, since the
imagination.
Super Bowl, that's the last time I've seen it look like that. I was
That's
down there,
exactly
and it
right. Yeah,
was.
it was February 2011 when we hosted the Super Bowl here in Dallas, and it was almost this bad, but not quite as bad as it is this
Yeah,
time.
this is bad. But it's so interesting to me because you're in the rideshare business, Ride Alto, and you know, people always say, you got to have, a new idea, and yet, you know, the courage to enter the ride sharing space with Uber and Lyft. It was like when Kevin Plank came to Lee and wanted him to invest in Under Armour. And I looked at Lee and Lee looked at me and we're like, you're going to compete against Nike and Adidas and Reebok. And are you kidding us? Like, why would you want to? So my first question is, why would you want to compete in the ride sharing space?
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at this space and think that all the disruption may have already happened. Uber and Lyft are obviously huge competitors with lots of money, and a few years head start. But the reality is that this is still a very, very nascent business. We're still just in the early innings of disruption here, and looking at this space, it was a place that I had a lot of personal passion. I spent 11 years of my professional career in consulting, and all of that time in the consumer travel space. I know quite a bit about what consumers are looking for in travel and the experiences that they're looking for when they move. And so I saw a ton of opportunity to elevate the experience. Alto means elevated, and we're elevating the experience for drivers and passengers. And we think that there's still a lot of work to be done to kind of make rideshare really what it fully can be.
And you took some of the critical business issues, the pain points of the bigger competitors, and understanding the business is still pre-chasm. And I think you make a very valid and important point for everyone looking to get into business is that with the expansion to a world economy, to a digital economy, we don't realize or can fathom the size of the market. And so we instantly see numbers that we've never seen before and say, oh my gosh, Kim Kardashian has every follower on the internet. And like, oh my goodness, she has so far to go. The same thing holds true that there's actually a strategic advantage for a consultant like yourself that has extraordinary situational knowledge to correct some of the mistakes that were made, since the Bradley Tuss days of Uber when he got acceptance to utilize, ride sharing to now. It's interesting. You went back in time almost and have company owned vehicles. Uh,
Yeah.
what was the strategy behind that?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Starting a business is really all about identifying opportunities, and there's always been, places where people look at industries and say, "Wow, this is already solved. It's already been done." I mean, I think people probably would have looked at MySpace before Facebook and said, "Well, what we don't need, there's no need." So
And
we
thank God
believe
Netflix. Thank God Netflix didn't look at Blockbuster and not decide to
exactly,
quit. Right?
exactly. Yeah, so we feel that ultimately actually the long-term outcome in this business is that there are going to be fleet owners, and that fleet ownership, owning vehicles, is going to be a very important part of the transition, first to electric vehicles and then over time in 10 or 15 years to autonomous vehicles. And so that by owning our cars today, we're actually ahead of the game, in many ways leapfrogging our competitors in terms of building the capabilities required to own, operate, maintain, charge, keep clean and safe a large fleet of vehicles across the U.S. and around the world. And so owning the car lets us solve a lot of the driver and customer challenges today. It allows us to provide a safer, more consistent, higher quality experience now. But it also helps our company build those long-term capabilities that we believe are going to be really important for rideshare operators of the future.
You know, and I was kind of analyzing your business, which I love to do because I'm always looking for the light and the lessons and, you know, why somebody would do something. It seemed to me that initially you're starting to attack what used to be, you know, I think Uber more attacked the cab business. And then you guys are more in the high-end sedan, which then really transitioned. What used to be the town car transitioned into the Escalades and the SUV business. And, you know, utilizing some of the aspects that were missing for the corporate traveler who has more money. And I know the pandemic has, you know, cut back, but
Yep.
we all know that corporate travel is going to increase exponentially, which is probably allowing you to scale while the market is, you know, brewing right now. For you, was that, you know, where you're looking to replace the sedan SUV business in the long run, or, you know, directly head-to-head cab business and the sedan SUV business?
Well, look, the reality of transportation is that it's actually quite asset heavy. It always has been, and we believe it always will
No
be.
pun intended.
Yeah. Regardless of what our competitors say, you know, that they're technology companies and don't manage or use assets. The reality is that that's not true. I mean, that this is a very asset heavy business, and it's actually quite expensive. Competing in public transportation is a very tough business. Public transportation has been subsidized by governments for hundreds of years, for good reason, because, you know, it creates economic stimulus in cities, and so you know, that's an essential service that needs to be provided. You know, Uber and Lyft in many ways have decided to compete against public transportation, which is a hard business, hard to be profitable. So we've taken a little bit of a different strategy. We do have a more luxury product that today targets a higher end consumer. But, you know, we kind of think of our strategy a lot like Tesla's. Again, we're thinking abilities to be the future operator of a large electric and autonomous fleet across the US. And so we're building a company today that can be sustainable in the short term. That's a little bit more, you could call it niche. We think of it as specialized. You know, Tesla started with the Roadster, a really fast, very expensive vehicle that they used to build their capabilities, to then subsidize the creation of the Model S, that then subsidized the creation of the 3 and the Y and the X. And they created, and all the while they also created, you know, all these battery factories and vision technology and long-term capabilities that are what really underpin the foundational value of Tesla. And we think that the same can be true here in rideshare, that we can start with a more expensive product that, frankly, you know, helps us be profitable now, but then also helps subsidize, pay for the development of capabilities that will allow us to bring the price down, and that will allow us to serve a bigger and bigger market, and more and more people. And so that's what we're aiming to do. And this is a huge market. I mean, Morgan Stanley thinks that in the US alone, rideshare is a $25 billion opportunity over the next 3 to 5 years. And so, you know, there's a lot of opportunity, and now maybe we serve 10 to 20% of that, but over time, if we can serve 50 or 70% even, we think that there's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah, it's interesting when you have, I call it segmentation, when you have a 20-year perspective on things, the things that you do change and the strategy changes. And I think more and more consultants like yourself are looking at things not just in the short term. And I think part of the reason is the capital that was available over, you know, the last 10 years, as we, you know, had very strong, consistent economies and a lot of cash on the sidelines. I think is one of the hugest benefits that we'll see in the future, is that it's allowed companies to not just raise off of instant revenue, but a long-term story, and people get it. And there's great milestone entrepreneurs like Elon, you know, and Branson and others that have proven that, look, we can build, you know, even my own personal brand. I always tell people the best piece of advice is you have no idea as a personal brand what an opportunity you have today. You know, that, you know, someone like me can compete with CBS or NBC.
Yeah.
and have the same access to 4.6 billion people without all the regulations that they have to face and overhead that they have to face. You have no idea how important it is to build a community right now as a personal brand. And you're actually not only building a community, but you're building the actual infrastructure to create future transportation. As I hear you, this fleet of autonomous vehicles, and then a database of people that love to be moved around from this rideshare capability is extraordinary value. And I can see and compliment you on that vision and patience. I'm doing my training tomorrow on persistence, blending persistence and patience. And I might use you as an actual example of how
That does feel like the perfect balance of what you have to do in starting a company, right? It's this blend of it's got to happen today. You got to have the persistence to make it happen every single day, despite a pandemic or despite frozen roads and whatever else. But you also have to have the patience to know that it takes time to build something really big and great. And so both of those things do really have to come together.
But I compliment you as well that you took that into consideration and are still profitable in the short run. Like you have a plan to be profitable, just not as profitable that you would burn yourself out like a Blockbuster. So way to go. Will, people can find you at Ride Alto. You're in Dallas and in LA right now. You're launching, right?
Dallas, Houston, and Los Angeles. Yeah, Houston has been up and running since the middle of 2020, and LA's been open since December. So we're really excited about the expansion. We've got big plans on the horizon for 2021 as we continue to see recovery in our industry and the travel industry overall. We're gonna be in 4 to 6 new cities in 2021, and so more and more folks around the U.S. will be hearing from and seeing Alto on their local roads.
Very cool. They can download a Ride Alto app. Go to ridealto.com.
ridealto.com, yeah, or ridealto.com/download, and it'll take you straight to your app store of choice to get the app.
You got it, my friend. Will, come and join me again. Congratulations on your success. I look forward to, now that you're in LA, I look forward to utilizing it here in the sunshine. Stay warm when you get home, if you can get home. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, David. Appreciate the time. See you soon.
Take care, Will.
Bye.
Right on. All right. We got Will there. I wonder why my phone is. Hey, Will, can you cancel that? Up there you go. Sometimes the whole Instagram thing is funny of exiting out. I'm looking for my boy. What's going on? My boy Craig Siegel. He's an incredible energy. How can I get more guests on my podcast? Email me. I'll help you. Got the private group that I can help you with and making some introduction. Craig Siegel time. Oh, here I am right below fire. Okay, take a deep breath, everybody. This is my boy, the incredible Craig Siegel _CLS, the cultivating lasting symphony.
Yeah!
Oh, no!
I'm in rare form today, big Dave. Rare form.
I love it, man. I love it. I love your podcast. I love your coaching programs. I refer so many people to you. Someone's asking, how do I get guests on my podcast? So I'm going to start there. How are you getting these amazing guests on your podcast?
Just networking and putting out unbelievable value. And by making the episodes so deep and valuable where people get all these tangible techniques they could use. Like even, for example, for having you on the show, Dave, not talking about the successes, but like the mindset required when you were at rock bottom to ricochet off. You set an example for people who are going through some struggles right now. And so people hear that. And then obviously, with the launch, I'm very grateful to say we have almost 40,000 downloads in about a month. And so people want to be on that because obviously it gives them exposure, but also I think they see that we're doing the right thing and people are just really excited about it.
I'm very excited about it. Also, I love the moonshot masterpiece experience, dealing with 3 of the things that I mentor people on. That I'm pushing to go. You're just walking around. Mindset, structure, and accountability. So what I see there is that blend that I'm talking about beyond persistence and patience. It's a blend of the pragmatic world to the inspirational connection. So there's this, we live here, right? You got rent, you got mortgages, you got kids. There's activity you get paid for, activity you don't. But how do we blend that or realize that beyond the pragmatic existence that we have, you know, there's this mindset that allows us to connect to an incredible inspiration, like you're bouncing off the walls inspired, and that's all natural God coming through you, man. You know,
Yeah,
how do you
but it's
teach
not
people
only
in your
natural. When I see your face, I get super excited as well.
well, I get excited. I see so many of your little videos. Like there was one you're walking on the street after you were on my podcast, and it was the biggest compliment anyone's ever given me because of how legitimately, authentically excited you were walking on the street, telling people, you know, it was one of your bucket list items. It made I showed my wife. I go, you know, this is what I dreamed of, impacting people that are going to impact other people, and that's what you mean to me, man.
And that's what you mean to me. And that's why I love our relationship and it's so special. Thank you for saying that, Dave.
Awesome. So talk to me about inspiration. You know, you talk about the mindset, but there's this, you know, misguided, you know, feeling that, oh, I need my why, my passion, my purpose. Obviously you're living in your best self. You're pursuing it every day and you're helping other people do the same. How do you help people feel the way that we feel?
Yeah, so number one, inspiration and motivation are temporary. I know this because I've dealt with it for years. When I was doing stuff like in my other businesses that didn't fulfill me, you know, there'd be days where you're on fire and you're flying, and then there'd be other days where like you kind of had to get yourself super excited to do what you're going to do. And life shouldn't be like that. It's too short. So this is why I'm such a big advocate in revamping the mindset, because once you change your perspective on how you see things and what's possible for you, that lasts forever. And I always say, like, you could watch a good Rocky movie or you can get yourself excited. You could watch Tom Brady win #7. But ultimately, you have to maintain that level of inspiration, integrity, fire, and so forth. And so what I try to help people out with is that when you literally shift your perspective, I mean, physically, like look at something a little bit differently, all of a sudden everything opens up for you. And there really is no limits. You know, there's no shackles on you when you see things a little bit differently. And for example, a lot of people ask me, like, I want to start a side business. I want to pursue a passion project, but I'm scared that, you know, no one's going to want to work with me, or I don't want to put out content. Here's the thing. What's scarier, taking that shot and putting together a strategy, or not taking the shot and then waking up 9 months from now with the same unfulfillment and unhappiness that you're doing every single day? Life is so short. There's so many resources now at our disposal, especially with things like social media. And I see you blowing up, Dave, on Clubhouse. You're everywhere. It's unbelievable. There's so many different tools that people could utilize. So here's the thing. Revamp your mindset. Change what you associate pain and pleasure to. If you want to take a shot at something, that doesn't have to be painful. You could look at that as pleasure. It's not what can you do, it's what can't I do. And all of us are destined for such greatness if we open up our minds a little bit.
Yeah, you're so good at, you know, voting for what you want. You talk about, you know, sitting around for 9 months, you know, high, broke, sick on your mom's couch, just dreaming about what you want. And so many people, though, like you said, they think about what's missing in their life, what they can't do in their life, what they don't want in their life, or worse, in my opinion, what other people want for them in their lives, instead of taking all that energy, focus, and time to vote for what they want in their lives and not listening to other people. Now, you mentioned Rocky, which piqued my interest because I'm a huge Rocky and Rudy fan. You know, I know all the background story of Rocky. Even I think the making of the movie Rocky and the making of the movie Rudy is more inspirational than the actual movies, which I've seen over 100 times. And Rocky especially means something to me because when I was at my very bottom, I would say my bottom had a basement. I was lying in bed. I was lying in bed just one day wondering if I could get up. It was just one day. I spend minutes and moments in ego-based consciousness fear. I just minutes and moments. It's a practice of mine to get better and better. Most people spend days, weeks, months, and years in that mindset. And I have learned every day I'm going to be in that mindset. But what if I just try to shorten the period of time of that natural occurrence of being afraid or depressed or anxious or frustrated or worried? So I'm lying in bed, and I don't know if it's a message from God, but I've been a huge Rocky fan. I get choked up thinking about that day right now. I'm like, look at the TV, right? And in my head, I'm like, what the F did I do to myself? Like, I'm like, are you kidding? I'm living in a mansion, and they're coming to take all my furniture away, my house away from me, my golf course away, my ski mountain, everything I owned away from me. And I'm lying in bed, you know, just literally depressed, and there was Rocky. And when I turned it on, it was the very Rocky one, very last fight, and he was getting his butt kicked, right? And you remember he's like lying down, and I just in my head I'm watching him, and I'm all shit, and he's looking up every time that he gets up. Then he gets his, Apollo Creed beats his ass, and he falls down, and he looks up again, and then he gets up again. Remember, barely any energy.
Yeah.
They're holding on to each other. I don't want a rematch, right? I
Yeah.
told myself, man, I want a rematch. I want a
Yes.
rematch. If I can look up, I can get up. And that's
Yes.
that's what Rocky means to
You get
me.
me fired up right now.
Well,
This is great.
I want to know why Rocky, like that sentiment is so important to you.
Yeah, so just the overall story of like, what is Rocky really? He's all heart. And I'm a big believer in the mindset and heart far surpass any type of talent in this world. And you could do so many things. And I'll give you an example. 2019, I ran 4 marathons. And the year before that, I couldn't run a mile without stopping. And I'll never forget, before the first marathon, I put on Rocky 2. And then I carried that tradition to each marathon beforehand. And just like you have a story for Rocky 1, my story is Rocky 2. And at the end of the fight, Apollo's beating his ass a little bit again. And he comes to the corner and he says to Mickey, the trainer, he goes, "I ain't going down anymore." Because he was getting his ass in the beginning of the fight. And to me, I applied that to the marathons because when you run those types of long distances, no matter how prepared you are, that voice is going to come in your head a little bit towards like mile 18 or 20. And so it just always stuck with me. As soon as, you get knocked down a little bit, that's it. I ain't going down anymore. That's just it. You're going to have to kill me. I'm going to give this every single thing I got. And then obviously all the stories, really, every one it has a different story. Rocky 3, he was a little complacent. He lost that eye of the tiger. I think me and you have both been there. And then he gets that back. Just all of them have a different story for me, but specifically Rocky 2 when he says, "I ain't going down anymore." It's just such a metaphor for life.
You got it. I think we've given things to people here. 2 great quotes. If I can look up, I can get up, from Dave Meltzer, Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. I ain't going down no more. You put and institute those 2 philosophies into your life. Imagine what you can attract. Imagine what you can believe. Imagine what you can achieve. And you're doing all 3 of those in your life, my friend. You are attracting, believing, and achieving. I know everybody's interested in finding at Craig Siegel _CLS. They're got to listen to your podcast and as well join some of those coaching programs. If you want to get fired up every day, if you want to make the most out of your life and pursue your potential, look, this is the dynamic duo. I'm Batman. That's Robin. Craig Siegel, man, you're welcome anytime on any of my shows. I'm a big fan of yours, and you are one of my 1,000. I'm counting on you to empower 1,000 in your lifetime to be happy.
You have my word. And I'll just say this because I always ask my audience to engage, and they're the most engaging audience on the planet. And they always ask me, when are you and Dave going to officially do something that's like a reoccurring show? Because your chemistry and dynamic is off the charts. You and I need to do something and set something up. Our energy together is second to none, and the value we provide, the world needs to hear more often.
Yeah, let's reach out to Jake. Let's figure out maybe an office hours or a show on Clubhouse or something that we could do together, okay?
Done.
All right. Go ahead. Reach out to me if you want to see a show with me and Craig at David Meltzer or David at dmeltzer.com. Reach out to Craig at Craig Siegel _CLS. Where else do you want people to reach out to you, friend?
Listen, I'm starting my second mastermind in April. Ever since Entrepreneur dropped this week, it's been a game changer. Had about 40 people message me, "How do I work with you?" I'm sold out of my one-on-one right now. I'm sold out of my first mastermind, but the second mastermind is opening in April. If you want to work with me, send me a message. We could talk about it. The Entrepreneur was a game changer. I love everything Dave's doing. Check out the CLS Experience, the hottest podcast on the planet right now. CLS Experience, anywhere you listen to podcasts.
You got it. It's like a Batman and Robin with the playbook and the CLS Experience. You can't beat it. The dynamic duo is here, Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, right in front of you, standing up, firing you up every day. Thank you so much, my friend. Exit out of there for me because my IG is screwed up and I can't get rid of it.
My pleasure. I'm going to hit you up, Jake, up later. Have a great day. Love you.
Love you, man. Thank you. The great Craig Siegel. You can see why I love him so much as he's trying to exit out too. Woo! Perfect blend of patience and persistence in that guy. That's what training's about on Friday. Reach out to me, David at dmeltzer.com. You can join my text community. It's right there. 949-298-2905. It's been up there all the time. Dave at dmeltzer.com. Get my guides, books, exercises, the playbook, download it. You can listen to Craig Siegel on there. He was awesome. Thank you, everybody, so much. All right. Woo! Moving right along. Let me take a quick question and bring on our next guest. What advice do you have on improving quality of a podcast? Well, first of all, sound is the most important thing in a podcast beyond the idea of what you're sharing. So obviously the frequencies are the biggest importance. Number one, the frequency of the idea, and two, the clarity and frequency of the audio. So go ahead. Let's get on with my next friend, Dan Henry, speaker, author, self-made millionaire, comeback story. If I see him, I don't see him. Anyway, here we go. I'm sorry. Is Jake, sorry. Is Dan here? If not, I'm just taking another question. Oh, join me at 8:45 Pacific time, JA Worldwide. I'm going to go live on there for a 2-minute drill. Comes out tomorrow again. Chris Knutson, our JA Impact Award winner, will be honored on JA Worldwide live at 8:45 Pacific time. So check that out. And when did you start practicing ending fear, and how did you go about it? I started over an evolution. I didn't define it as practicing ending fear, but I started by identifying and asking myself every day my what. And as I asked myself, what do I want personally? What do I want experientially? What do I want giving wise? And what do I want receiving wise? It became quite apparent that I needed to know what I was afraid of, because each of the days that went by, I was in my own way. And when I started analyzing what that meant, get out of your own way, you're in your own way, it was, what am I afraid of? So I kind of added that in to utilize all day long to identify my needs of the ego, not just the primal needs of the ego, fight, flee, feed, and the other F word, that means procreate, but more importantly, the need to be separate. You know, what was these needs to be separate, meaning inferior and superior, meaning, you know, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, all of these different feelings that need to be right, that need to be offended, that created interference and voids and shortages in my life. All right, I'm gonna take one more question, and then we are gonna go over to JA Worldwide and join us there for 2-minute drill. My TV show 2-minute drill is on Bloomberg and Amazon Prime Video. Check it out. We will love to have you there. We give a JA Impact Award. Chris Knutson, E2E, the man. What do I need in an investment pitch? I'm looking for investors for my business. First of all, you should try out for 2-minute drill. We give $50,000 of cash and prizes every episode, $50,000 of cash and prizes every episode on 2-minute drill, Bloomberg and Amazon Prime Video. Check it out there. And what you need in good investment pitch is 5 things. 1, you need to be credible. 2, you need to attach emotionally. 3, you need to reasons to quantify the investment, quantify the impact for, and talk about the features and benefits as capabilities that can be quantified as well. If you can do all 5 of those things, you will have statistical success in what you do. So thank you so much. All right, everyone, join me in about 10 minutes on JA Worldwide. We're going to be honoring our Junior Achievement Impact Award winner. Check it out. 2-minute drills tomorrow. Training tomorrow is the blend of persistence and patience. We have Clubhouse, 6 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow as well. We got busy day, active day. Sorry, busy means unavailable. Active day tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific. The Breakfast of Champions with Dave Meltzer on Clubhouse. Join me there. If you need anything, exercises, books, guides, for free, I will sign my book, pay for shipping, david@dmeltzer.com. Join my text community, 949-298-2905. Thank you so much, everyone. Remember, most importantly, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. We'll see you tomorrow.